And welcome, guys, to Style Esports, one of the last weeks that we are going to be playing this season. Tonight, we have an excellent game from you, brought to you by the Noxus division. We have Feared by Night taking on Shenandoah University. This cast will be made by yours truly, Inigo Montoyas and Verdant Chaos. We're going to be having a little run back of these two teams. We have Fear by Night, who has already taken down Shenandoah University in the semis to knock them down to the losers bracket, but they fought their way through Vino's goons to find them again in the finals to make this a best of five. And we'll see if this makes a difference against the best of three that they had to play before.
All right. So we're going to be fun and exciting here today. Right now, we just recently had Milio drop, and we're now past a week, so we're able to play him for this final. So we might potentially be seeing him. He's definitely was quite strong on release, has now had a few patches since, but I'm predicting that this is going to be potentially a long drawn out match. We have from what I saw, kind of two tank top laners or like a little bit bruisers. So I foresee that this could be a little bit of a wet noodle contest in the top lane of just trading those grasp procs back and forth. But I want to apologize to everyone for the stream title. I am unable to fix it myself. This has been kind of ongoing issue, so I would like to apologize to everyone.
Oh, yeah, no problem at all. But we do have to mention as well that Fear by Night, although they are the, I guess, reigning champions in this 1v1, they do have an ESUP in their mid laner that they had to switch out. They switched it out for Espada, but last minute they had to ESUP it for Dragon Luster. So that's going to be their new mid laner, a jungle main, so not quite familiar on these mid lane, uh, I guess, champ v champ combinations that they make. But we do have a start of the draft coming in, and Fear by Night starting off strong with a Swain ban as their first.
Yeah, Swain's a very good flex pick, and just across the board, you can obviously throw him in the mid lane. You can have him as support, and also sometimes as an APC. So I'm not too surprised to be seeing that going, but that's going to be immediately followed up by Darius and Pantheon. Darius obviously scary in the top lane, but Pantheon being able to is very flexible in himself, able to be played in the jungle, mid, and support roles.
Yeah,
But
so far we do have a little bit of these the Pantheon being played by Kevin a lot, so taking that away from him, Darius from Zumi, or yeah, I guess Zumi in the top lane for Fear by Night. And now we have Zaya, Elise, and Fiddlesticks also being taken away from this game as well. Nautilus being the first pick.
wow, I'm kind of surprised to be seeing Nautilus picked at this juncture in time because like you could immediately just follow this up with a Morgana, and then that would immediately cut down on his impact that he can have in this in A lane and B towards the later end of the game because you can just use the Black Shield to get rid of Dredge Under or what's the ultimate of Nautilus? Kind of forgetting, but
Uh, Something like that. Yeah, something about
yes,
that name.
yes. But
But
they're
yeah,
going to be following it up
definitely.
with Nocturne and Camille. They're going to be going with some strong pick champions because you can go with the Absolute Darkness from Nocturne and the Hextech Ultimatum coming in from Camille, and that could really lock down an ADC here. So, very, very strong pickups.
Yeah, it's actually very interesting that so far the four champions being picked, all four of their ultimates are single targets. Vi locking down Nocturne, or sorry, yeah, Nautilus as well. Nocturne and Camille both being those type of champions to be able to just pick out one person and try to take them out before they can really do anything. And then to combine with both those teams, we have Varus for Fear by Night and Galio for Shenandoah University. So
Yes,
again, like a little combination of that Camille and Galio ultimates being put together, Varus making sure that they're not falling too far behind in these team fights as well.
yeah. So far, we are liking kind of some of these point and click adventures, but I think that you have a lot of you have a lot of flank potential in global ultimates with the side of Shenandoah University with the Galio and Nocturne. Camille, not so much, but it can do the flanking. So Varus could potentially be in trouble here, and we're gonna see what they're gonna be picking kind of out of the mid lane and the top lane to potentially support him or kind of help cover up some of these flanks. But Shenandoah is good. I think it's smart to get rid of that Shen. You're not able to use the Stand United to help out Varus and just give him that massive burst of a shield. But I think that if I had to take a shot in the dark, Fear by Night might be picking Ornn, just kind of get some of these ornaments and just kind of help augment his team. And the Call of the Forge God is a really good either engage or disengage tool.
Yeah, definitely. They might be looking for that front to back type of play, especially with their Isa being in the mid lane. They're not a little comfortable on them being able to play the carry, so they might play a little bit more of a control mage, maybe an Oriana, and maybe a Veigar, something like that. Just play a little bit safer, make sure that they're not too much in the fray and having to risk their life, risk their neck out for this team. Uh, so we're just gonna have to see what they end up picking into that Galio. Being able to pick that counter pick in the mid lane is probably gonna be a very good thing for uh Dragon Luster to be able to have on his side, making sure that those jungle picks can maybe come in handy in the mid lane.
So an important thing to be looking at here is Galio technically could be support. So they could potentially have the mid lane counter pick. I think it's going to be Galio mid. But Fear by Night is all AD at current. Like they have Vivara set. Those are all strong AD champions. Nautilus does do a little bit of magic, but that's not going to be the strong focus. And that's going to be a pickup of Silas. And he's going to have some very potent ultimates to be taking from Shenandoah.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's definitely a very strong pick. Was not expecting that to be taken out by Dragon here. Probably one of those champions that does take a little bit of skill to be able to pull out, but I guess there's not too much skill in taking a Nocturne ult and using that paranoia to be able to hop onto that Kaisa, maybe make the difference of the vision and make sure that, maybe a disengage or a full engage, but the
Ooh.
Taric being
Ooh.
the answer for the side of Shenandoah University. Haven't seen the spicy Diamond Man in quite some time.
Yeah, I mean, good response into Nautilus. If Nautilus wants to go all in onto the Kaisa, you're able to throw the stuns, get some of the shielding heals, and obviously with his ultimate, being able to just kind of keep her at health preserved and go for some of these longer fights, I think is going to be quite potent.
Yeah, and we do have to think about as well that the Taric is taking a little bit of time to be able to do that engage. Maybe I believe it's a 2 second guess warm up to be able to have that invulnerability. But that invulnerability will also work very well with Nocturne, with Camille, some of these ultimates that don't necessarily need to be placed right now, right then, and are very time constrained, such as a Gnar, uh, some of these other champions that just have to hit the go button immediately. But now that Tara can really go in, Nocturne can go in very safely. Paranoia giving him that damage, that ability to just dive into the back line and then being completely invulnerable to all damage for, that 2 seconds, that 3 seconds, and just make sure that he can get that kill, get out safely. And it may be a very big pick for some of these ultimates that we're talking about in the first round.
Yeah, I right now, like if I had to make a prediction, I think that Shenandoah University has kind of the upper hand for picks. Right now, Fear by Night, the only kind of ranged slash poke that they have coming out is just going to be the virus. So it it could be potentially helped by Set grabbing one of kind of the tankier members and using his R to get into the backline. But Kaisa is quite mobile in herself, so she's going to be able to play away from that. But right now, you have the mobile figure of Varus, who can just be dove by Nocturne and Camille, and then can be further augmented by Galio or Taric. So I think that Varus is just going to be having a very, very hard time playing this game.
Yeah,
I
I
think
would.
I think it'll come down to a lot of vision.
Oh, 100%. I definitely think that Fear by Night would have the better comp if it did not have to go into this Camille. Being able to use that Hex Tech ultimatum, really make sure that he is all alone and giving Nocturne a clear shot towards him, as well as the Camille, the Targ ultimate, making sure that they're both safe in that engage. There's a lot of disengage by the side of Fear by Night from Nautilus. Maybe Vi being able to use those knockups, those knockbacks, to try and keep Var safe. Even Set, like you were saying, taking one of those champions and just knocking them into the team themselves. Having a little bit of problem inside of Champ Select. But yeah, just because of that Hextech ultimatum, I don't think that there's going to be enough safety for this Varus to be able to stay alive. And yeah, I have to agree with you. This Shenandoah probably has the upper hand in this draft right now.
Yeah, but just kind of like looking at some of these lanes and to break them down, we have Set and Camille on the top side. I honestly, from personal experience, I can't always say for all cases. I believe that Set very much has the advantage in the earlier portions of the game, but as the game goes on, Camille very much a strong duelist and is able to just kind of maneuver and get away from his true damage cone. So I think that Camille, once we get towards the later portions of the game, she's going to be quite strong. But for jungle, Vi and Nocturne, Vi is very versatile in her build paths, so she could go for something like super aggressive early game, go with something like Hail of Blades. That's less seen these days. But she could be going for Aftershock for just a pure engage, or going for Conquer and just going for a lot of more kind of that brawler sense. I think that both junglers are kind of versatile in their own way.
Yeah, definitely agree with you there. If you had to choose one of these lanes for the junglers to, really choose to focus on, which lane do you think is going to be for these teams?
Ooh, okay. I think that and Nocturne could focus on the Set. You could get into the top lane quite consistently. Like if Set is kind of overplaying their hand, overextending for a lot of these different plays, and just trying to dump a lot of this damage into Camille. She has her shield up. She can take a fair bit of abuse, and then you can turn that play around on him very quickly if he's very far out in the lane. So I think that's a good gank setup. Plus Camille has that stun. It's stun the slow, and mid lane, not so much. Silas can kind of be a little bit of a nightmare to gank. He has just got the multiple dashes. Obviously, you need one of them to hit like a enemy target, but he also has the W heal, so that's a little bit rough. Galio and Silas are kind of going to be a little bit of a wet noodle fight, but bot lane, ooh, I think that Vi maybe wants to look for bot lane. You can obviously have some very strong setup with a Nautilus, and if you are able to get on top, if you're able to catch out the Kaisa, I think that could be a strong pickup. You do have Varus, who has greater attack range than Kaisa, so he could kind of get some extra, weave in some autos as he's CSing, and Kaisa could start losing some health. And that would force Tarek to have to play out of the bushes, maybe have to expend a lot of his mana to try to heal his teammate.
Yeah, well, there we have it. So we have where these junglers are probably going to be putting their focus. We have these team compositions coming out, and now all we have left is to see how these teams are able to play this game one of a great best of five series that we're going to be having on our hands tonight. So we do have Fear by Night versus Shenandoah University, and this is going to be our game one. Fear by Night on blue, Shenna on red. Don't go anywhere, as we just had to take a little bit of a spectator delay here. So we'll be right back. sums actually. So there's no heal in this game at all. So we have Exhaust Ignite being taken by both sides of the bot lane. And so definitely a little bit of an interesting thing, although that is probably coming the nuanced strat coming. Oh, a little bit of an invade from the side of Shenandoah University. Doesn't look like they're going to go for the wards, so I don't think any action will be happening, just a stolen buff away from this red buff.
So right now, I'm kind of surprised that the Vi wanted to start over on the side of blue, but hey, they spotted her out early. Spotted him out early on the ward, so now it looks like we are going to be vertical jungling this game, which I think will set a very fun precedent to be watching. But to kind of further talk about some of these keystones and summoners, we're going to be seeing what is it on the top side? Ooh, a little bit of excitement here. Pet Napper going to be taking a fat chunk of health, but we're going to be seeing Camille on the top side with Ignite, not going to be going for Flash. So is definitely wanting to play safe early and wait until she has the hook shot up to help her get in or out of some of these fights. But Vi also has Conquer instead of something more aggressive.
Yeah, that Vi with the Conquer. We do have Camille as well with the Grass, which is definitely the best keystone to be picking into a set.
Yeah.
Probably having to make sure that you keep up with health, making sure that you keep up with these heals as well, as he is going to be trying to trade a lot in these probably later on, but definitely early on, trying to make sure that he gets that lead while you don't have the hook shot. That 20-second cooldown for it being a little bit long. And as we're seeing, yeah, another grass proc
Sheesh.
coming out. Dragon Luster taking a lot of damage in this mid lane, but he does have the Vi on his side. The flash coming out, just flashing over the wall, making sure he stays safe. And not much action happening after that. Two flashes down. One for one for Pet Naper and one for Ezio.
So right now, and Vi I only had a blue buff, so she wasn't able to kind of push that fight out for longer, and they weren't able to kind of dash that down for like a potential slow. But being able to get flash out of Gallia wasn't able to force the TP, but still just a strong play in general. Give Luster kind of the advantage here in the mid lane.
Yeah, definitely. And we're gonna have to watch out that Dragon is definitely he's using all of his mana whenever he does do the clearing of the wave, which allows Pet to definitely get a lot of damage out once he uses all of his abilities. And it looks like you might
Ooh.
actually have a kill here. Going back in, Dragon Luster getting very low,
Oh.
no mana, but Vi
Wow.
is here to save him once more. No flash this time. Nocturne trying to come down, make sure Ezio does not get that free kill, and he might
Oh.
actually end up being the dinner. Not quite. Zumi's coming down, making sure that no action happening as Dragon was getting too low to be able to back up his jungler.
So Vi having to gang and kind of help the mid laner 2 times in a row is now going to be obviously down farm and down levels. So Ether in that fight had both of their buffs, had that more farm, so was obviously going to just be a large enough threat for Ezio to just kind of really get pushed off of that engage.
Ooh, but something we do have to point out as well, although Ezio is down farm, is down in levels, they did get both scuttlers, stealing that one away from the realist there, and making sure that she does stay in the game, make sure she stays reliable and in the XP and CS game. So although she is falling behind, that steal away is definitely helping her out a lot.
Absolutely. So right now in the bot lane, we're just going to be seeing a fairly just slowly just plotted out course. They're going to be shoving and the wave into the tower. Going to be probably looking for a back here, and not too much excitement is happening. So I initially thought that mid lane was going to be a little bit of a wet noodle fight, but it has probably had the most action we've seen by far.
Yeah, Dragon Lesser not afraid to trade back against Naper here. We do have to point out Nocturne is on this bot side. The bot side of Fear by Night being there, but it doesn't look like he's going to opt for that gank, making sure that his lane just free farms, making sure that they stay even. And Kai'Sa is doing a very good job of not allowing the pressure to make her farm fall behind, keeping even both at 45. No real CS differences except for the top lane. A solid 40 CS versus the 25 on set. So Although there is no action really happening in that top lane right now, Kevin is making his presence known, especially with how Zoomies is having to come down, making sure that Ezio doesn't get in too much trouble, and then losing some farm with the constant pressure that Camille outputs.
So right now, Camille kind of looking at mid lane, trying to get a potential hook shot, but unable to find that. Luster's able to get away under his tower. He has no TP, so he could be in trouble in the mid lane. He is low on mana.
Yeah, using all that mana for this clearings of the wave, it's definitely not going to help if things are happening outside of the lane. He's not really going to have the man to back up Ezio or to back up any trouble that possibly happens in that Drake pit. Maybe with Zoomies having to get a little bit of pressure. And now that these level 6s are coming out, Naper is going to be able to have that ultimate unlocked for himself. Draken taking that away, but no mana to actually use it. And so now it's just going to be those ultimates coming out. Now we just have to wait for the realist to be able to get his out, and we'll probably get a little bit of action coming out soon.
Yeah, I say once Ezio and Ether kind of get the paranoia and cease and desist, that's gonna potentially net a kill for one of these lanes. I would assume. I obviously can't guarantee that, but right now Ace is gonna be at level 6 and kind of having the 2 levels on his support. Nautilus just kind of was roaming there for a while, but now Nautilus is 5 himself.
Yeah, getting 5, Ace getting 6, so definitely a little bit earlier. Ooh, Draken very low, half health and no mana to be able to back up some of these go-ins he's looking for. So he is definitely playing a very dangerous game. Not quite playing to the, I guess, the standard of the mid lane right now, which is understandable. He is more of that jungle main. So can't fault him too much for not being able to play into this Galio too much.
Yeah,
And
can't
now just
can't
under
fault him.
constant
He's
pressure.
subbing for his team. He is trying his best. I dare say.
Yeah, and now we're going to see the first Drake of the game going down. Sincere Support and Ether both taking that on.
Uh-oh.
And now Ezio caught in between a rock and a hard place, not being able to use that flash out because of the ultimatum, and will be the first blood going over to Camille. Ignite being used and death being taken.
That's good awareness on Kevin there on the top side to use the Hextech ultimatum. You knew that Galio's flash is going to be the same timer as Ezio, so you have to use that in order to kind of lock him into that kill.
Yeah, it might have not netted if he had waited just a little bit, making sure that Ezio does not get over the wall, and then the Hex Tech hitting, make sure that it hits before the wall even gets in position to really make any difference. And now double buffs on the way of Kevin. Although that minions are definitely hurting a little bit, so dissuading him from going in onto Zoomies there. But now the Rift also being taken for the side of Ether too. So both objectives, first blood, and a whole lot of pressure being taken. Already 1K gold lead at 9 minutes.
So this is a very dominant start coming in from Shenandoah. They're able to exert a lot of pressure on the map. Ezio was trying to get some help in for his mid lane, but it was unable to really net anything positive outside of getting the Galio flash. But right now, Ether has been able to get. Ooh, I spoke too soon.
Ooh, Snoopy trying to go in there, but now we have a fight on the top side as well. It looks like Zoomies is
Ooh,
going to be taken down, and now in this bot lane, Creighton and Sincere Support trying to take out Ace, getting the stun onto Snoopy, but not
ooh.
onto the target that matters. And kills will be traded, but Ace gets that one, and Sincere Support gets theirs. So not quite equal kill potential in the gold, but kills being traded across the map there.
Right now, that's going to be Dragon Luster coming to help his team on the top side. That hook shot not going to be able to get him out.
Ooh. Yeah, the hookshot not quite being able to get out of his own ultimate being stolen away, and the realist will end up falling to the side of Feared by Night. Now Dragon Luster getting very greedy there, trying to take out Kevin as he tries to run away, but not quite, as Pet Neighbor is there to save his top laner. And now he's looking for a little bit more, not quite, just getting out there, using that hook shot to go across the wall as well. And 2 kills for Camille here, 1 kill for Sincere Support, but an excellent trade back in that top lane fight. Getting 2 plates, but also taking a kill on their way out.
right now, Camille has a divine. Oh, uh-oh. All right, we're not going anymore. But Camille has a divine Sunder in the top lane, and that she definitely needs that. Ooh, Straighten
Yeah, Creighton
in
or
trouble.
Trayton, yeah, definitely having to flash out of there. The Dreadnought almost getting its position, but the flash coming out from Creighton. Sorry, from Trayton before he's able to get that knockup first. So staying a little bit safer here, but now there's going to be a flash being taken away from that bot lane. You have to play a little bit safer as Ezio is now 7 and heading his way bot lane. So may not be as much safety whenever that jungler does make his way down.
One nice
Yeah,
thing with having this Tark is going to be able, you did see Straighten take a lot of damage, but now Sincere support is going to be able to kind of help him heal. Going to be getting rid of obviously some of those wards, but just going to be helping bolster his Kais up. Now we're going to be getting some blood here. That's going
yeah,
to be them going
Snoopy
in on a
getting
Snoopy,
very
dumping a lot
low
of
here.
damage.
Yeah, the stun's coming out, getting Snoopy again, but Ezio using that flash to try and go in. But now
Ooh.
we also have a fight in the mid lane, and now Dragon Luster is going to finally fall to this mid lane. Ezio not quite being able to get the kill, but he is using that ultimate to try and get on Sincere support. Ace trying to hit his abilities, but not quite. The damage is almost there, but not enough. Living with 1 HP outside of the Feared by Night and not enough damage. So another kill going over to Sincere support, but this time nothing being traded back by Fear by Night. And now Zoomies is in trouble as well as Kevin finds him underneath the turret. Oh,
Ooh.
Zoomies made an unfortunate mistake getting underneath turret as he uses that ultimate and will take another turret shot and will lose his life as well. Snoopy also getting stunned up as he goes in there, trades from the supports, but now this time it's the opposite. Snoopy getting the kill for the side of Fear by Night, but Trayton getting the kill for Shenandoah University. So the better trade for them this time.
Yeah, set using the showstopper to the tower top side. A little bit unfortunate, but Snoopy was at least able to get a shutdown, so it might help the lane here in the bot side. But wow, so, and Sincere support being able to survive that, and Ezio going all in on him, just using that shielding and heal right as she went in. That was nice to see.
Yeah, we had to point out that there's a 1K gold lead at 9 minutes. Now it is a 4K gold lead at 14. So basically 1K gold lead per minute that has passed since that last time we pointed that out. And with Drake being up, that's just another objective for these fights to just really come out and force some of these 5v5s, maybe 4v4s to come out from the side of Fear by Night. Even though they're not ready, uh, it's probably better if they just give this one up, don't you think, a little bit?
Yes. Right now, you need to basically buy some time. You want to effectively scale into the game. You aren't going to be having your set. He doesn't have his TP. Obviously, Kevin won't be able to match that as well. So we could be looking at a 4v4, but you still have two global ultimates with Ether and Pet Napper. So if they really try to go in, they have more repositioning at this point. So I think it's best to just give this up and try to get some farm, shove out a lane, force them to lose some XP. You gotta play for some of your outs here, and Ezio is going to be looking for that here on the top side.
Yeah, as you said, Zoomies is looking for Kevin there. Ezio trying to follow up, but not quite being close enough. But yeah, definitely a great idea. Just to give that one up, make sure that you stabilize this game a little bit, and make sure it doesn't get too much out of hand. It's better to give up some objectives to make sure that you stay even in golden farm. And looks like Ezio is trying to answer back a little bit, make sure that they get that Rift Herald, but Pet Napper is not going to make it easy, not going to make it a free objective. And now the other two players coming out,
Ooh,
Ether and Kevin,
ooh,
making sure that it is a
oh.
fight, and Ezio losing his life, and now the Rift Herald is going to fall over to the side of Shenandoah.
Was that a fight or a beatdown? That was just a lot of ultimates committed and just instantly killed him there. But
Yep. It's not
oh,
quite looking the best. Now Zumi's being taken out in that mid lane. Honestly, just kind of putting on a clinic for some of these plays right now. Collapses on both sides, making sure he doesn't have either side to really get out of. Kevin making sure Ezio gets locked up. Pet Napper using those ultimates as well to make sure that Zoomies is not able to escape in any way, shape, or form. And now Dragon Luster getting very bold going against this 3-0 Kevin. And loses a whole lot of life and gets almost nothing in return. So yeah, it's just not looking quite the best by Fear by Night. I think the switch of the mid laner might be a little bit uh, hurting in some of these compositions, some of these ideas that they may have pulled out last time. So I don't want to put it all on Fear by Night, but I also don't want to put it all on Dragon Luster. Although he only has one death on his side, it has not been looking great for some of the other sides on Fear by Night. So it may not be that Fear by Night is doing uh, poorly, but just that Shenandoah University is doing extremely well, learning from the last best of three that they had to play against these players.
I think an important thing to note is that you saved the last pick of your team for Dragon Luster specifically. So, so kind of to add into, you really need him to perform, and he has just kind of been beaten. Not kind of, he has been beaten out by this Galley. He's down CS, he's down basically kill participation at this point in the game. He now finally has his row that's going to get stacked, so that's going to start helping him out. But maybe you have to pick Dragon Luster a little bit earlier, knowing that his impact is going to be not as large as you would have wanted. But uh-oh.
Yeah, another kill going over the realist or Ether, trying to get over to Ace and just getting there. But now the showdown, or sorry, a shutdown going over to Kevin. 2 kills on the bot lane, but Kevin equaling it out in the gold in the top, unfortunately falling over to the side of Ezio and Zoomies there. And now Dragon Luster is looking for this 1v1 in the mid lane. Pet Napper missing some of his abilities, and Dragon Luster getting a lot of heals back, and now actually made it look very impressive in that 1v1, making Pet Napper having to flash out of it.
So right now we're going to be seeing Dragon Luster having the kind of the Eternity passive on the row is going to be helping him heal through this, along with his W with the Conquer. So right now, Pet Napper can't go for some of these longer fights as he maybe kind of did win in the earlier game. But we're going to be, Ezio is going to be getting a little bit of lifeblood with that. Ooh, uh-oh. Ezio's now in trouble. That's going to be...
Ezio being caught out just a little bit. That true damage is making it very close, but the Hextech ultimatum just running out, giving the chance for Ezio to flash out. But now it looks like he might get caught, or making his mid laner get caught. Dragon Luster falling for his sins. And now Zoomies is going in, saying it's my turn now. Let's try it out. He's trying to go in, but flashing out as well. The hook shot not quite getting hit as Snoopy cancels it. But Pet Napper is not... just falls to Ace before Ace falls to Trayton here on the Kaisa. And now Snoopy's is found in no man's land, falling as well. Another kill going over to Sincere Support, hitting 3-1-4 on this Taric. Really showing off, and now Ezio running for his life, making sure that he does not get caught. And he might just try and go for an execute on these turrets. Not quite, actually. Looks like he might be able to get out of this one. The blast cones being very helpful for him to escape. Ooh. Sincere Support finding him out.
The great chase continues.
Ooh. And Nocturne being on the other side of the gate. There is no safety for this man, no matter where he goes.
Ta-da!
The chase lasting a minute will finally fall. Ezio making... finding a gray screen, but not after a trade back. The realist Ether finding it as well, and so will Sincere Support as this objective comes up. So now it's just going to be another 30 seconds before they can try and fight for this one either. Although I don't think Fear by Night can take it for free. It definitely is stalling out a little bit. Possibly 3 very important shutdowns going over to the side of Fear by Night. First from Kevin, second by Sincere Support, and third Ether.
So important thing to note in that earlier portion of that fight about like the 40. Right now Luster's in trouble.
Yep. As we go again, Dragon Luster looking for that 1v1, but turns out that Kevin is there as well, making sure that he does not have to face the fear alone. And that kill being traded back.
Sorry, this has just been very much a kill frenzy just in this game. But
yeah, we expect
Ace was able to kind of just learn from his last sin of kind of going melee versus a Camille, and going to be now spacing away from that, and then was able to survive, get a lot of those shutdowns. So Varus does have 2 items at the 20-minute mark, so he could have some very strong impact here, and that could kind of leave a little bit of a glimmer of hope for the side of Feared by Night. But it is looking quite dicey with this effective a near 8K gold lead at the 21-minute mark.
Yeah, and
Oh,
Ezio being found in no man's land
oh,
once again. Honestly, this time I'm not quite sure what the plan was, taking the Hexite Gate, trying to take that red buff, and then getting caught out. And now this Baron looks like it might be the play for Shenandoah University now that that jungler's out of the picture.
absolutely. You have Tarek. You have Tarek here. He can kind of heal your team despite you losing the resistances from this Baron. But now they're going to be looking for this play. Snoopy is coming up with Dragon Luster, but I don't know if they'll be able to contest.
Yeah, not quite. And now five-man Baron being over on the side of Shenandoah U. And it's just time to push out some of these lanes. So it is now effectively 10k gold lead at 22 minutes. It's not looking very bright for the side of Feared by Night, now having to be feared by Gray Screen, and it's unfortunate for them that some of these lanes did not pan out the way that they thought. The set being picked into the Camille, and now not looking like the best pick. Like you said, Dragon Luster on that Silas picking into the Galio, and also not quite doing his part in the 1v1. Some of these lanes that you pick for that combination of being able to counter out and making sure that they make their lane opponent obsolete have actually become the obsolete instead.
Ooh,
Now
ooh,
Ace being taken
ooh.
out, feared by night. Actually, it's their turn to be fearing by night, and it's just not looking great. Do you think there is a way for the side of Fear by Night to come back in this game?
At this point, for the comp that you have drafted, you have to play front to back. You have to throw zoomies in the front line along with like a Snoopy, and you have to throw Ace behind it. Ace cannot handle this because they do have pick potential. He can't be that far out, not near a tower. They just press. They have point and click abilities that catch him out. But right now, Pet Napper could be in trouble. Going to be using the flash. That's going to be cease and desist coming through. That's a nice stopwatch, buying time.
Yeah, solid stopwatch. Kevin trying to use that TP into the fight, and he will survive just a little
Oh,
bit, but not quite long enough. But he will trade back on Dragon Luster, and now also going for Ezio and Snoopy here. Almost getting down, but Ether stays alive. Ezio falling,
uh-oh.
but so will Kevin. Ace really finding him out. The exhaust being used, but not quite enough as the speed is just too great. And now, yep, saving the shield for that Varus Q. Uh, but unfortunately, the side of Shenandoah is still pushing in that top lane, getting one turret, and with these Baroned up minions, possibly getting a second.
Right now, obviously, you lost the two people on the side of Shenandoah, but you still have people with Baron buff that are just going to be shoving in this top side, obviously getting a lot of local gold from the towers, but then going to be kind of giving away a lot of global gold with the two other towers. Kills are nice, but objectives win a game.
Yeah, it's another 2k gold lead added onto the 10 2 minutes later in this game. And now we're going to be coming up soon on this Drake, I do believe, very soon. Yeah, in about a minute and a half. So now just probably going to wait out for that Drake. Maybe take this mid turret as the last outer turret for the side of Fear by Night. Uh, but yeah, just taking this Drake, and that will make it Soul. Uh, and honestly, I don't think the side of Fear by Night can really contest this one. And it's going to be very harmful for them to be able to try and play this game out, especially with the amount of poke that they've been putting out, just adding even more to that as well.
At this point, you just want to throw. I obviously know it's a Hex Tech Soul, and that's a very, very hard mountain to climb. But I think you want to just throw Sumis and Zoomies in the top lane, put the rest of your team in mid, and you want to maybe get some of these objective bounties, try to get some gold onto the team. Uh
Yeah, and unfortunately,
oh.
Ezio being caught out once again, and now the ultimatums are coming out. A whole bunch of action happening, but unfortunately, none of it is good by Fear by Night, or Feared, yeah, sorry, Fear by Night. Four of their members falling in that play. Three trying to save out that jungler Ezio who got caught out. And now, honestly, with some of these death timers, it's looking like 20 seconds. It might be another inhibitor falling.
Yeah, this could. Yeah, I'm like I guarantee an inhib. You may be able to get a Nexus Tower if you want to played a little aggressive. You will have the Hextech Soul. You do have Ether on the dragon right now, going to be getting you a soul, but they're just going to be going for the other inhibitor.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be the triple inhib tech going into that soul, and now maybe we're just waiting out for this Baron who should be coming up maybe 2 minutes or so, 3 minutes. Uh, but yeah, just very unfortunate for their side trying to play this out. And honestly, it might be one of those games where we just have to start thinking into what do we do better? What do we do next time? We saw that they're not afraid to pick top jungle in the first 2 rounds of those picks on that red side. So is there anything different that the side of Fear by Night can do for this next game?
Absolutely. Okay. First things first. You took blue side to get a priority pick, and your priority pick was Nautilus, despite not getting rid of kind of some of the counters to Nautilus in itself. And Nautilus, although very nice as an engage support, has found very little value throughout this game so far. So maybe consider a different priority pick. I think that's a big one. B, you have like if you are going to choose counter picks, as you aforementioned, you have and Camille picking after, well before Zoomies. Oh, we're gonna be getting into it.
Yeah, a little bit of a fight here. Dragon Luster trying to make this fight happen, but not quite as Kevin takes him out. And now it's Snoopy's turn to see that gray screen zoomies as well. And looks like, yeah, that honestly might be the end of the game here. Just a lot of pressure coming out, and now it's time for Ace to meet his team in the afterlife. These turrets coming down, and the only defender being Ezio, but looks like he's just going to be running for the hills as this Nexus falls. A solid 1-0 clinic being showed by Shenandoah University, taking us to class.
Yeah, you got to pick something. If they pick a Camille Nocturne, you have to pick stuff that can help your team, help Ace, which is going to be your win condition. Oof.
Yeah, definitely. Like you were saying, that first pick on the blue side probably needs to be a little bit or a little bit more of that first pick prio that you're going for. Although Nollis is not the worst pick to be putting first, I wouldn't be putting that as a priority, especially with the pressure of these supports and how they've been putting out so much of a difference as we saw. Sincere support on that Tarek just putting off like so much healing, so many stuns going out, and just really making sure that his team is the better team in some of these plays, making the difference for those stuns, heals, the invulnerabilities and completely countering Nahus every single time he got a hook. Tarek was able to stun him on point every single time and making that lane extremely hard for Ace to be able to play on that Varus. So yeah, like you said, definitely have to see some changes in the second draft for Fear by Night. Possibly picking a different priority or maybe just taking red side altogether and making sure that they can get the counter picks that they're looking for. And maybe, I think you said during the game as well, picking Dragon Luster a little bit earlier. Uh, yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of different potential options and avenues here. So I'm going to be excited to see how they really kind of turn this around for game 2.
Well, as we let these teams try and think it over, mull over what changes they can make, mull over what went well for their team, we're going to go into a small break as these teams get it together. So don't go anywhere as Shenandoah is getting an early lead 1-0 against their opponents previously and opponents now feared by night. All right, and welcome back to our series of Shenandoah University versus Feared by Night. So, unfortunately, for this series, we are going to have a little bit of a forfeit from Feared by Night here. Shenandoah University will be taking the series 3-0. It's very unfortunate that we're going to see that for this series for tonight, but it does happen. It is what it is, and we just have to move on. So, the winners of the Noxus division is going to be Shenandoah University for this season 14.
I mean, congratulations, Shenandoah. Hard fought season. And hey, you probably did expect finals to go this way, but congrats to you guys nonetheless.
Yeah, definitely a very hard fought game one. Really pulling back from the last series that they did lose against Fear by Night. Definitely learning from what they played before and improving for their finals. I guess their final scene. And so, yeah, to have to give a lot of credit over to Shenandoah University, really pulling out these early compositions, making sure that they get it working. And yeah, they really worked it to perfection. That Nocturne, that Camille, really pulling off and showing what they can do. Uh, if you have to give a MVP to one of the players on Shenandoah University, who would it be?
Okay, so Sincere Support was able to help his teammate absorb a lot of pressure and able to get a early bot lead. But Kevin, I think, rose above the kind of the Call of Duty, was able to beat the counter for his lane kind of quite dominantly, and was able to just continuously find different advantages, was able to get a fair bit of roams off and help just kind of chunk out a massive lead for his team. How about yourself? Who do you fancy as the MVP?
Yeah, definitely have to agree with you there, Kevin. Pulling off a lot of pressure in that top lane against Zoomies there, getting some of those early kills off on him, and especially with the roams as well, making sure that mid lane, that Galio was able to really pull off and see what they were able to do.
All right. And so, kind of just with this, thank you everybody for coming out. Sorry that we didn't get to have as much excitement as we would have wanted, but I am going to also thank, was it that the side, and I'm going to thank the bruh sound effect for the earlier raid. Questions to people in chat. Do we want to do an interview? Possibly. We could find someone from Shenandoah and just get their thoughts on the overall, at least one game. But or do we just all want to call it a night? Hmm. In the meantime, do you want to see if Shenandoah is down to do an interview?
Yeah, just sent them the link right now, so we'll see if we can get one of their players in here and possibly get a little interview going on for this best of 5 series that we saw. Although, really,
The best,
just game
best of
one,
one.
best of one that we have going on. Yeah, really have to give a lot of credit again to Shenandoah University putting on that clinic, making sure we're all going to class tonight. And yeah, that Galio's putting a lot of pressure in on the Silas. Kaisa Tark really doing their job completely. They were getting a lot of pressure from the Vars, from the Nautilus, but being able to pull it off, sincere support, making sure that Kaisa got, well healed up, no picks really being taken out. And as soon as Nocturne, as soon as Ether is able to get that level 6, that's when the pain really started coming in.
Yeah, I just I think that game just came down to uh, uh like two big things. A, I think it was very much a draft difference in general. Um, you had just these two pick style people grabbed immediately. You had the Camille, you had the Nocturne, so you knew exactly what Shenandoah wanted to do, and the returned picks just didn't offer any help or like to Ace whatsoever. So Ace was just able to get constantly blown up. And then he fought kind of definitely really far away from towers on multiple occasions. So it went very poorly in that sense.
Yeah, and now
But
we do
then
have one member of Shenandoah University here with us right now. Who is this?
This is Way Awesome Kevin or Whack.
Ooh, all right. So the Camille coming out to tell us what was up about that game. So, how do you think there's a difference in between the last time you played them versus this time?
Uh, there was just a little bit more comfort this time around. After that series, the first time, we kind of sat back, look at it the next day because we were all just a little taken away. They were really good. Like we were kind of expecting to go in and make a big splash, but then they brought it back. So we sat down, we really looked over things, and came back for this series. And apparently, we came in pretty strong.
Yeah, definitely showing off a whole lot in that top lane. Although you did pick Camille in, I believe the B1 or the B2, regardless of that, still picking in that first round. Do you think that set was, typically a counter to Camille? I'm not exactly sure how that matchup really goes.
It's bad if the set gets a like pressure early, or if the wave starts pushing in the set early. Beyond that, like scaling wise, I believe Camille just does better. Like, just the strength in the side lane and all that. Um, but also, the jungler on our side was very comfortable trying to get a lead top side that game, and it just kind of snowballed from there.
Yeah, Ether, the realist, was definitely doing a whole lot of work on that Nocturne. I know it's
Mhm.
definitely one of his very big comfort picks that we see him playing on.
Oh yeah.
Wasn't honestly exactly expecting that to come out from solo queue into competitive play, but yeah, he did a very good job on it.
Yeah, it was. That's one of the picks that he's always been excited to try to bring into the competitive play. But in a lot of the scrims we've done, people see it, they get a little afraid. Because once Nocturne ult hits, it's all communication from there. You got to be talking about everything, what's going on, and it just can get a little funky if things don't work out your way.
I I, I think that coming out, I was quite surprised to be seeing both you and Nocturne just solo pick target champions just being insta snapped. Which I'm like, this is gonna be a fun game in general. But I was quite surprised to see the Varus and coming through against your comp. What were you guys thinking when you didn't really see a answer to help you? Sorry, an answer to help Ace whatsoever. Were you just thinking barbecue chicken in your mind? You're just gonna be eating good.
I mean, yeah, like it was. I was pleased going into that game just with the comp overall, but beyond that, the bot lane said, "Listen, we'll stop whatever bleeding we have to, and just like we'll keep up to the best of our ability," and then they just took it from there. So,
Yeah, I wasn't honestly expecting Tarek as the last pick, although it does make a whole lot of sense seeing that into Analyst, seeing it every single time Nahlis did hit that hook, the stun immediately came right after. Is Tarek, one of the hidden gems that y'all do have on Sincere Support there?
yeah, he enjoys a lot of. I mean, you can ask him to play any support and he'll do it. But he sat for a couple minutes when we were asking him what to pick. It was just dead silence. He's like, "I really want to play Tarek," and it was like everyone thought that came out of the blue, but when it came into play, it did a really good job.
Yeah, definitely. Although I didn't see the invulnerabilities do too much
Ooh.
of the help there. There's a lot of stuns hitting like two, three people every single time. Especially seeing all stays healthy during that Baron take, healing every single two autos he got.
Oh yeah,
Uh, yeah, definitely very big on that support there.
absolutely.
So for your mid laner, were you guys considering potentially putting Galio as support? Is that why you saved Sincere Support as the last pick because you were considering flexing that option, or what
Yeah.
was just Galio set for the mid lane?
We were considering the flex,
Okay,
just because we knew Kai'Sa Nautilus is always a strong bot lane. We decided that Galio's engage would just be amazing, the air too. But our mid laner looked at the matchup, felt very comfortable with it, and just said, "Let's go through with keeping me mid." And then have the support, have free range.
All right.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I do have one final question. I'm sorry.
no, you're all
Uh,
good.
I didn't do too much research on the mid lane for Fear by Night, but do you think that might have been a little bit different, uh, I guess, in this matchup as opposed to the last one as well?
Yeah, because I mean, it's very the mid laner for this semester here um, is actually he's fresh. This is his first semester competing with us, and so he's been kind of getting a hold of the ropes and everything. So we definitely are very aware when we look at everything when it comes to what he wants and like getting him some sort of comfort. Obviously, you can't give the world to any one given player, but we want to make sure that in any given matchup that there's some level of comfort, something that he could fall back on.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much. Do you have any more questions for our man here?
I do not. Thank you, Kevin, very much for joining us here on this panel. And congrats to you guys. What are you going to do with the money? Are you going to go to Disney World?
We're gonna, I believe we're gonna go bowling. We are big bowling people. It's a
All right.
good time.
Hey, man, we
All
get one
right.
free round of
Sounds great.
bowling. Let's go.
Yeah,
Gotta
buddy.
get at least one turkey this time. And yeah,
Exactly.
hope y'all do fantastic. Hope you have a great time. All right. Well,
Uh,
thank you all very much. Awesome to see Shenandoah Esports get that 1-0 victory against their opponents this time, really switching around from the last play in the semis. And yeah, that will be all we have for you tonight. Unfortunate, but a great early night for us. So we'll see y'all next time Style Esports goes into a cast.
All right. Have a good night, ladies and gentlemen.
All righty. Thank you.